Ready?
Welcome
All right.
to
Welcome to Sith Talkers, the Star
No,
Wars podcast.
it's my show.
Oh,
My show.
shit, I forgot. We already did my show.
Yeah, we already did your show. I'm here with returning guest, Mike Lando Ferrando.
No. Mike Lando Ferrando.
You know how many messages I get a day of people listening to me in their car that are probably at like, maybe their volume's at like a 27 because we never like to listen to the music on silent. Now all their kids in the back seat have just gone deaf. You have created a world of deaf kids. Congratulations, Mike.
You're welcome.
Well, Mr. Mike, welcome back into the blank. And let me tell you something. Did you see the Biden ad that came out on TV?
No, I steer clear of politics.
I do too, but dude, it was so like, all right, there used to be a movie with Terry Crews where he was president and he was watering the crops with Gatorade. You remember that? I feel like that is what the world is actually coming to. It is literally coming, like they're solving their judicial problems, like all like who goes to court and gets the death penalty, all this, in a monster truck game. You're about to get crushed by a monster truck, and that's if you survive, you get let go. But hold on, the Biden ad, it was all fine. Like, wants you to wear a mask, wants you to keep safe, wants you to social distance. He's got a plan for coronavirus. And then the ending, Trump wants you to die by coronavirus. I'm like, hang on a second, is this legit? Like, am I being punked right now? I thought Ashton Kutcher was going to come out and punch me in the nuts or something.
Nah, man, right? Trump thinks, the COVID, it came from China. That's not fake news. It's not fake. I don't know, dude. It's honestly, it's like watching, from what I've seen just on the internet and this and that, it's honestly like two cartoon characters like fucking going at it this year.
Everyone's afraid of who the president's going to be. I'm like, I'm afraid of what the world is going to come to, because if this is 2020, then what's 2040 going to look like? What's 2060 going to look like? I'm not seeing the Jetsons flying cars. I'm seeing a bunch of people that I guess pick up a rock and think it's a telephone.
No, man, we have it all wrong. Because remember, Back to the Future 2, because that was like made in like the 80s, and they were just like, 2015 is going to be like this. Hoverboards, flying cars, right? No. Because our version of a hoverboard is a fucking, like, no, it's not a fucking hoverboard because it's not hovered off the ground. So don't call it a hoverboard, right?
If you had to choose one thing to throw all of the government funding into one certain category for research, what would it be?
For research?
Yeah. So you got space, you got water, you got all these other things that we can do to make the earth more stable than it currently is.
We would need to dump all the money into investing it because we need to learn how to live on another planet. Because eventually, dude, this planet's just going to eat itself, right?
Yeah. But the issue is like nobody really takes into consideration the fact that we wake up every single day and we're all literally on this giant rock floating through space that is literally just far enough from the sun to sustain life and just close enough to where it sustains life. So if we look at the factor of if we're trying to explore and find put all our resources into space travel, we've tried that before. Of ideas of colonization on the moon and stuff, but it's like, what happens if we send up a rocket ship with our last survivors, like Armageddon, our last survivors going up into outer space, and then what? A missile, or not even a missile, an asteroid comes by and kills them, and then the whole human race is dead.
So not to veer off a little bit, but I guess there was a news story, like literally like a day ago, where there was an asteroid in space that missed the Earth.
That happens
just barely
all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody understands that Venus, people look at that planet and they're like, oh, that's another planet, but we're farther away from that. It's like, that is known as our shield. In October of last year, an asteroid was coming and it got hit. Venus took the hit for us because its gravitational pull pulls a lot of the asteroids. That's why you look at the moon, you see all the craters. Those are asteroids that hit that. I'm looking at the concept of Pangea. At one point, we were all connected. Something hit, and then we all separated. Those parts have been drifting farther and farther and farther every single year till maybe 100,000 years from now, those parts are going to collide back into probably a lot longer than that, but they're going to collide back in and create one continent again. Would that create a lot of the issues that we have? Because if you look, I've talked to people from the UK, people from Australia, people from every other country. Everyone's got a really shitty, distorted perception of what each other are. I thought UK was this place where you would sip tea and have fun. Most of them hate the Queen. Most of them hate the Queen. I thought the Queen was beloved by everyone. Not true. It's like the Pope. We kind of trust you, but we don't. But you look at like Japan, all these other places that we consider having issues or we don't know anything about. It's completely different. Maybe if we're all connected again, we would understand each other a little bit better and stop being so, I guess, sticks and torches, just ready to stab somebody.
Well, yeah, right. Because everybody's in like their selective, what do you call them? Like their selective boxes, right? And once you get comfortable in your selective box, anything outside your collective box is weird, is different, right? So like, yeah, like, and you see, I guess that's the thing. Like people, like what I like hate, like something like I hate about people is people assume like way too much, like about just anything, like other people and other.
They
yeah, like you
assume
say,
how
like
you're feeling.
you assume.
That's the best one is when they assume how you're feeling. You look sad. Oh, do I? Do I really look sad? Do I? Thank you. When like I'm always at like a store or something. Someone goes, "You look tired." I'm like, I thought I was looking fucking fantastic before I left the house.
Yeah, but it's hard to please people nowadays, right? Because you get somebody, that's a morning person, and then you get somebody that's not a morning person, right? And then the morning person wants to be like, "Hey, good morning, hello, how you doing?" And then you got the other person be like, "Just leave me the fuck alone and don't fucking talk to me," right?
Now you know how I feel working at a gym when people walk in with headphones. And you're like, "Oh, how's it going?" It just completely.
And they just walk right by.
They don't even know you're talking to them. So now when I say goodbye and then they don't answer, I just go, "I hope you get in a car accident."
Yeah. So another pet peeve is that, like, and obviously, like with COVID-19, pretty much the entire world works from home. But like, yeah, what about this can even happen in public, right? Going, in checking out somewhere at a register. You look up at the cashier. "Hey, how you doing?" And they just check out your few things and they bag them up. That'll be $14.75. "How you doing?" "Thank you." Like, what? Like, what? Wait a minute. Like, I said hello to you. Like, what? Like, what? Like, yeah, it's like, what are you, a robot? Like, so I think I told you on one of the past episodes, like if I do, like, honestly, I don't even go through like lines anymore. I do self-checkouts like crazy.
It's because
like
it's easier.
It's a lot easier.
It's just tasking to try and talk to people. But I think it's an issue of like, we were talking a lot. Like I'm starting to really trying to analyze perspectives a little bit more about everything. When it comes to, we're all in our own heads so much of the time, only because like there's just this unrealistic expectation with how the world's gone where we need to be famous or celebrities. And it's like getting to this point where it's like, it might not be for maybe you that feels that way, but a lot of people that are trying to create content such as maybe doing Sith Talkers, for instance, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But it's also like, I would like people to watch it. I would like people to view it. It'd feel amazing to have 1 million followers. But then that's how people start off the mindset of, and it really gets discerning because it's like when you stop trying to create something because you enjoy it or you're having fun with it, you end up screwing yourself over when you start caring about the analytics, start caring about the views. I remember you messaged me one time talking about it like, hey, like I feel like our viewership went down a little bit, on the YouTube. And I'm like, when you worry about that, it's going to be nagging in the back of your head like a little demon you want to feed. I mean, it sucks. I have to try my hardest not to care about that stuff. And it really, it's
no, man, trust me. I avoid it. Like, so of course, when I first did, I do YouTube, right? So Sith Talkers has been on YouTube since February. So dude, YouTube is like a whole nother world. And it affects my listening numbers as just a podcast. So because now you have two options, and honestly, you can either watch us or you can just listen to us. So, but like I said, and then like when I got into YouTube, I started looking into analytics, and then the stuff on my podcast would be like, because, I go through Buzzsprout and they give you all kinds of things. And I can look at all the analytics just on Spotify, just on Apple Podcasts, just on Stitcher. And like I said, YouTube's the same thing. It breaks everything down. So I looked at it for like a few weeks and it started like messing with my head, and I don't look at it. Like, I don't care, because I don't care hey man, if one person listens to the podcast or watches the YouTube show on YouTube, then my job is done. Right. So if you can enter, like for me, this is just me and because I call it a podcast show. I even rebranded my podcast this year. Like, it's not Sith Talkers, a Star Wars podcast. It's Sith Talkers, a Star Wars podcast show, right? So all I'm trying to do is just entertain people, and visually or audio. I'm just trying to entertain you for a little bit, and that's it. And like I said, if that can reach out to a few people, that's it, man. I'm good with that. So like, yeah, if I look at my download, because dude, downloads have tanked since COVID has started. But like, and dude, Star Wars is like not real relevant right now. So it's tough to be on a Star Wars podcast. And we got The Mandalorian, we got stuff coming out, but ever since the movies have been done, Star Wars stuff is just really tanked. And there's 1,000 Star Wars podcasts out there, right? So why should you listen to mine? I want you to listen to mine to get entertained. That's it. Yeah, have
what's
fun.
weird is that all the movies that have been created, even how much people love Star Wars or people love the Marvel universe, there was only one movie that caused depression in people the most, and that was Avatar.
Amazing movie. Avatar was amazing.
Yeah, it was an amazing movie, but so many people were literally getting depressed to the point of killing themselves on the factor of that that's not what the world or what life is going to be like ever. There was this unrealistic expectation that, like, not saying that you wanted to be a giant blue alien, but discovering the wholeness of the overall movie. If you look at that, like for instance, people and horses. A horse can't ride correctly if a person is not thinking clearly, because they have a distinct connection that way. It's just they're the only animal that can do so like that. Dogs can maybe sense your emotions, sense when you're sad, but a horse literally cannot function properly if you're thrown off. You need to have a bond there. Just like in the Avatar, when they would grab the fucking tail thing. Even not saying he's gonna fuck the horse, but saying as he's gonna, ride the horse. That connection that needs to be there, that bond. That movie had some very, very distinct characteristics and detail in it that really symbolize a lot of things that we should be trying to work on, such as a connection, a stronger whole connection with people, such as having that empathy. If you were to talk to me last year about when we first did our first episode, when I remember when I sent you an invite on accident, I was trying to send it to somebody else, and you pre-joined it like a few days before. You're wearing glasses. I caught this weird off view of you. Immediately my mind jumps to think like, oh my God, who's this nerd? Then we started talking. We formed a bond, formed like a brothership in a way, and we've been involved ever since that. Basically, that was more than a year ago.
Yeah.
The problem is, our brains either jump to a conclusions or never can truly understand another person's perspective because the lack of open-mindedness. I try my hardest to be open-minded, no matter. Remember, you sent me a message about the guy I had who was a Scientologist. He's like, how did you not go into that? I'm like, because it would have been rude if I would have just picked at him for that. And that is hard to do a lot of the times, but the closed-minded factor of the world. And then if you look at Avatar, it was all open-minded, but it was also showing you how man was trying to destroy so much. My idea to fix a lot of the environmental issues, and I'm not an environmentalist, but I am thinking more on how can we make this, because I want a year or maybe 10, 20 years from now, I want to be like, hey, you see that? That's a honeysuckle. That's a bee. That's a lightning bug. I want to be able to say that to somebody or a kid and them understand that without having to see it in a museum. The world's already getting pretty crazy with the type of restrictions we have now, where people are just going to end up dividing societies here of people that want to wear masks and people that refuse to wear them. If you look at Avatar, man's destruction of this beautiful planet, everything we touch, whatever, dies, whenever you want to say that way. You look at my idea was with all these buildings and people that are working from home, like you mentioned, a lot of the population, people are working from home. They found it's more effective, easier. You get the same amount of work done, and I don't have to pay you to come into work. Actually, you do more work because you're at home. All these abandoned buildings, let's take the money that was going to go towards paying the rent there, destroy them, build parks, build stuff that's more appealing and environment. The problem is art is in many different forms. Art's also a lot that happens to do with nature. That's why whenever you talk to someone who gets high and they talk about, I like to go in the nature and feel the woods, man, like that whole thing, that's because it is beautiful. It is raw. It has so much powerful, like watching a sunset, a sunrise, a waterfall. Create more of that, and you're going to have less people that are pissed off because they're looking at the same building piled up next to the same building piled up next to the same fucking building.
Yeah, so it's like like people say to me like, Mike, you should have been, I was born in the 70s, but like they're like, you should have been like a 60s child. Like, yeah, you're talking about like hippie mentality. It's so funny, like you're right, everybody's so retro nowadays. Like retro is like the coolest thing in the world right now. But like, yeah, like like 60s, like hippie mentality, that's what that lifestyle is. It's art, it's freedom, it's, you know, yeah, let's fucking save the fucking world. Let's save the earth. Don't fight, love, blah, 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 blah. It's that. And that's what's lacking in the world as the years have gone by. The art in the world is like less in the world. You see it in the public schools, right? First thing that gets cut is the art class. It's not the sports, it's not the football team, it's the art, it's piano, it's choir, whatever. um you know I think I've told you this many, many times, man. I feel that being artistic and having you know you know being able to express yourself somehow, some way, where you are using your imagination and you're being artistic, you need this to like keep yourself like centered and sane. Like you need outlets to do this, and the world is like taking them away. um it's so funny. It's like I went grocery shopping today at Walmart, and they had He-Man retro figures. Dude, there's 6 of them, and it took me everything not to buy them because I had them all when I was a kid. And the thought that went in my head was, I hope some kid buys these, like 4 of them, and then takes a bath. And don't get your heads twisted. And then, or it doesn't have to take a bath. That's what I did when I was younger. I take my toys in the bath, and dude, I would have fucking epic fucking movies like in my fucking bathtub, right, with my toys. That's imagination. That is using your brain. That is using your creativeness. Like I said, people think, oh, it's toys and this and that. But when you have a child and they have toys and they like make up a story in their head, that's being artistic.
Well, even
That is
using
using your brain.
a more relatable example, have an imaginary friend. How many kids have imaginary friends now, all
Did you
because
have
of
an
a
imaginary
tablet?
friend?
I had one that would run beside the car every road trip I went on. That does not happen with kids nowadays. And what's happened is it's an era of creativity that's kind of being transformed. And it's amazing. I can see what they do on a tablet and all these things. It's kind of finding a new form. Everything's evolving, but and I feel like it kind of leads to the factor of maybe reason why we might have an issue with a lot of this is because of the factor of we liked how we were raised. We were used to that, but now kids are finding a new way to find creativity in it. But it seems like our priorities are lagging a lot. Like we've learned to consider that money was more important than moments. It's a big issue. I mean, I understand eating out and all these types of things is difficult with the type of restrictions that are happening. But like, remember I told you about family dinners not happening. A lot of this stuff that was not happening anymore, and it's still not. Even in the pandemic, going to your room and being alone, being isolated, it's very, very damaging to your mind in a way. And what's weird is like there's a lot of cases of corona deaths, but a lot of them are suicides. It's mental health is becoming this huge thing now where people are starting to realize and really trying to be advocates for it, but don't really understand it. You can be born with it or you can develop it. you could have every single moment of your entire life go correctly. And I can tell you for a fact that you have your good days and your bad days.
Well, I say this, like, anybody who's listening, like, try to do family dinners, because I can't do them now because I can do them to an extent, but my daughter, she's moved out of my house. She's gone. So yeah, it's all part of the process of life, right? She has her own place. She's on her own, and she's not. It's a lot different, right? It's a lot different not having my daughter here in my house and not being able to have dinner with the entire family, right? So, and you take those things for granted. Obviously, you take a lot of things for granted when they're just here, right? But when they're gone, like, it makes you think about, like, man, maybe we should have had more dinners together. Or maybe we should have tried to do more stuff together, right? It really puts things into perspective. And funny, that's just how life is, right? Because when everything is here and it's just accessible, you just take it all for granted. But it's
And
taken away from you, you think about it.
it's the perspective thing. See, if you would have said
Right.
that to me a year ago, I would have just been like, fucking get over it, dude. Your kid moved on. You got to understand you guys are growing. And, this type of thing. That's before I knew you. Then understanding also from the growth I've had where it's like trying to understand your perspective of it, being like, imagine being a parent, raising this little kid. Basically, you drag. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, my mom, dad, they dragged to stores. I would wait in the car 30 minutes or whatever while they were in the store,
Yeah,
fucking
you can't
dying.
do that now.
Yeah, you can't do that now. That's something that should be brought back, or maybe it was a good thing. Can't do that. I feel like I got really creative when I thought that they were dead inside of the store. I was out there forever. But also the factor of, like, as a parent, you are now noticing, like, not even as a parent, as me, like, observing from a parent's perspective, how much it's gonna be. Like, I had this little kid, this thing I held in my arms, watched it grow. Remember, if it go to dinner, if they back talked at dinner, they went into a room. I got to send them, put them in timeout, put them in a punishment. All this control that slowly gets drifted into nothing, where it's like you hope to God you left some memories that were good onto them to the point that they look back on those and still want to come back and visit you because now the nest is gone. And it's that openness. And I never truly understood it until, over this, like, year or so, where you start really paying attention to things. I've slowly, since like the few months, known that my grandma was going to be gone soon. So my mom has lived up there for the past couple of months. But there's a picture I saw on Facebook where it was like a mother holding a little baby. Then the baby would slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then next thing you know, the baby was a little kid. And then it was bigger and bigger and bigger. Then it was an adult. And then it was, as that was happening, at the same time, the mother was slowly bending down, becoming smaller, becoming weaker, becoming older. And then it was the daughter holding the mother. And then it was just her holding clothes because the mother was gone. And I was like, it's that essential thing that you need to understand, that how life is so precious. And also at the same time is that you need to keep it in comparison that as much as it seems like you have all the time in the world, your selfish intent should not be coming first. Selfish intent such as, I just want to go home. I had a long day today. I was watching, I don't know, Vince Vaughn died. I don't know what happened, but Stars has been running the fuck out of Vince Vaughn movies. And a lot of them happen to do with the same premise. But I was watching it, and it was like showing the relationship and trying to understand from the woman's perspective as well. If I was the guy in the situation, he's sitting there, can you just help me do the dishes? Yeah, after this game, just help me do the dishes. And then she's yelling, and then he gets up to do the dishes. She's like, I want you to want to do the dishes. I never understood that, but it was about spending the quality time. Spending the time, and even me saying it is different from me doing it. The problem is society breeds us in a way to where we need to make money, and money prioritizes everything. Moments don't mean anything, and that is a big issue.
It's tough, man. I mean, you're right. You're right, dude. I've been working 2 jobs for almost a year and a half, right? So, so the last year and a half of my life has been really tough, and I don't have a lot of time to spend with the family, and I don't have time for myself, and that's like really unhealthy. Like I said, like I thankfully, a couple months I will be done with working 2 jobs, and I'll
What's that
be
second
able.
job at? What's that second job at?
It's FedEx.
Fucking FedEx
FedEx
people.
ground.
FedEx. They are the
Kicking
worst.
around your boxes.
I literally sent
I
Mr.
know
Mike
you
here
did.
a
I know
video
you
of
did.
a friggin' USPS truck rolling around with their back door open and packages just flying out all over the road and shit. And the guy's taking sharp turns on his phone, probably playing Angry Birds or some shit.
I told you, I'm surprised packages end up undamaged as much as they do to people after working at these facilities, man. You would shit a brick if you saw some of the shit that I've seen inside these buildings.
See, everybody's
So,
like yelling at Trump for pissing off the Postal Service. I had a problem with the Postal Service before Trump even said anything to them.
well, apparently they're not making it. They haven't made any money for like 7 years or something. So, which boggles my head because the FedEx facility that I'm at, it's a FedEx ground facility, but we still facilitate all smart post stuff, which is USPS stuff. And my shift, we run all of it. And I'm talking, we run a hundred, sometimes over 100,000 packages just on my shift. And that's like a 5-hour shift. So that's all USPS stuff. So how they're not making money is beyond me.
We're literally having these corporations take over now too, like Amazon, for instance.
They own the world.
They just started allowing podcasts on their site, and a bunch of my friends submitted their podcasts and got it approved to be on Amazon Music. I was reading their content thing. Yeah, they have at any point they don't like something you post, that can be taken down. I'm like, hold on, I don't want to submit mine in there. There's 2 spots my podcast can't go. That and then Buzzsprout, whatever it is, because they only allow you a certain amount of hours.
I do like, Buzzsprout.
Yeah, because you do one a week. I don't do one a week.
Yeah. Okay, so you bring up something interesting. You bring up something like, in a way, it's our rights and it's our freedom, right? And this is dude.
People can't say that though. I just learned this. I learned I can't say. I learned
what? Freedom?
You can't say my rights. You can't say any of this. The reason why is what I started doing, just so I can be able to say that, is I started reading what my rights are. I bet you 1,000% that most of the people that sit there and go, my rights, don't know what the fuck their rights are. They know freedom of speech. Look, right now, which the reason why I have my mic muted for a second, is H2OI week is coming down. I don't know if you know what that is, but all these riced out cars, these really small Honda Civics with the extremely loud, that bullshit that happens every year. They did riots in our town last year. Cops came prepared. Troopers from over the bridge came down here. It doesn't matter. If your car is low, they're pulling you over and they're giving you a ticket. The lowest ticket I could say that has been given out so far for a low car with cambered wheels that was against regulation, got towed, put in the impound, and the person got a $650 ticket. That is nothing. They're pulling them over like flies. Yesterday, I saw a video that was posted in this group, and I'll even invite you to the group so you can just watch all this stuff. They're kids my age, but a dude was doing a little burnout. Cop came over, pulled the guy out of his car. You want to talk about, people are saying defund the police? This is why they are saying this, because this cop grabbed this kid and threw him on the ground. But then he saw a person from the crowd come out, run over and punch the cop in the back of the head. And then the other cops came and grabbed this guy and started throwing him on the ground. My buddy last night was just sending me nothing but Snapchats of cars doing burnouts and people getting tickets and arrested. It is insane. This is what we call an abuse of power. But when you say defund the police, I've seen so much of this recently, and it really pisses me off, only on the factor of there needs to be a better test to be a police officer. It's the Stanford prison experiment where some people should not be put in a place of authority. You know these people when you meet them, people that don't have a sense of empathy and people that will take their power and run as far as they possibly can with. That's the issue that's been going on in everything we have government, is that they're able to get whatever they want and not have anything come against them for it. Oh, tell me if I just build this well here or build this mine factory here, it's just going to mess with that school, but we make billions of dollars to help with our debt. That seems like an easy answer. It's that thing. What's the quick route? It's that a lot of people aren't fit to be in these cop positions. They should have a severe mental test, a health test. But so much of the world is fucked up. It's hard to tell what's normal, what's moral. Your morals are only on from where you're from. People in China
raised on.
Yeah, well, people in China having one daughter. That's it.
Yep. That's all they're allowed.
We consider that savagery.
Well,
But
yeah,
to
because
them,
if you
that's
have another
normal.
kid, they kill it
But that's
in
normal
China.
to them. That's normal to
No,
them.
I understand that. It's
The
crazy.
idea of morals. It's like when I started learning a lot about history recently, and I actually had a woman that talked. She is a PhD in anthropology, which is like where we come from, which anything comes from. And I was talking to her, and she was talking about how, like, I found out that the president, George Washington, his teeth weren't made of wood. They were made of slave teeth. So that's something that got blinded, and they're like, well, wood sounds better to the people. When you start doing that and you start blending those details and then people find out about it, you get pissed off people. You hit Area 51, people wanted to riot. During the pandemic, you released aliens were real. And then you look at, people always talk about these founding fathers, all these people were fucking horrible people. Think from their perspective. At that time period, everybody was putting people's teeth in their mouth. Back in the day, big wigs, those people with the giant white wigs, that was because of syphilis. People were getting lesions that were opening up on their head, and they would put these wigs on. And the powdered wig, the reason why it was powdered was that chemical stained away from all the smell of syphilis in your rotting flesh. But then it turned into this fancy wealth type thing. It's all an educated point of view, is that we're all evolving as a society, and then looking back at everything with such savagery and how we should condemn it and do all this type of stuff. It's not about condemning that. It's about understanding what we thought then and how we're thinking now. And let's not make the same mistakes, because history is doomed to repeat itself. And every time we get to the line where it seems like we're about to break fucking through to this next thing, all these riots happen, it seems like change is going to happen, it just fucking stops. And then it comes back a month later, and then it starts back up again. It's like you're getting to the doorstep, but like the UPS guy, you don't give a fuck, and you just throw the package at the door and don't walk it in.
Yeah, dude. I don't even know how to respond. I don't even know how to respond.
Marinating on this shit every
uh,
day. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what the, like, it just seems like it'd be so easy if we just talked.
It's yeah. Yeah, man. The world is such a crazy place. And you're absolutely right. We just need to learn. It's like basic concept, right? It's like, be nice to people, learn from your mistakes, right? And change things for the better, but change them, not say you're going to change them. But like I said, I'm one of those people, man. Like, I don't believe in the rioting and this and that. Like I said, I'm more like hippie. I'm like more like 1960s hippie guy, hippie dude. Like, there's ways to protest and this and that without being violent. I just don't believe I don't believe in guns, right? That's my opinion. I have the right to feel like that. Now, if you want a gun, awesome. Go buy it, have it in your house. Me, I don't believe in weapons. If someone breaks in my house, I don't have a weapon. Yeah, there you go. I don't believe in them. So, and if you want to steer back to the original topic, that's what I love about the United States and America is I have every right to feel that. Like, I don't believe in guns, but by golly, if I go out in public and there's some guy that's got a gun on his hip and he's got all the proper, and like, fine, that's you, man. You do you. I'm going to do me. Me is no weapons, right? So violence and rioting, yeah, man, there's way more peaceful ways to do it. Violence isn't like, right, it's like two wrongs don't make a right. Like, you go back to just really simple, stupid things. Two wrongs don't make a right. So something violent happens, well, you don't justify it with more violence, right? I think that's dumb. So I don't know, man.
I think the factor is we just insert ourselves into everybody's lives, but also isolate ourselves from everyone's lives as well.
People get real emotional, right? And I guilty, right? Because I think our emotions can get the better of us and make us do things that we probably won't normally do or say or whatever, right? Because our emotions run high. So I get it, and it's hard to stop yourself when you're that like enraged and emotional about anything.
Well,
It
I
can be
mean,
about anything,
I'm not.
you know?
I don't want to own a gun. Only on the. I
Yeah.
remember my buddy turned what 23, and on his birthday he wanted to go buy a shotgun. As soon as I approached his house, he's like, "I want to go buy a gun." And this was in July, so like the pandemic was kind of like the riots and stuff were just kind of starting. And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because you see what the world's coming to right now." I'm like, "Yeah, but." There's a different thing than saying I'm going to buy a gun in case someone breaks into my house than having the actual courage to be able to shoot something. There's a big drastic change there. If you notice, well, I don't know if I actually haven't released the episode yet, but I told you about it when I saw that guy die and they brought him back. That whole situation was something that you think so much about it. Like if something was going to happen, what are you going to do? And then having the ability in that moment to do something. All I did was call 911, even though
But
it was,
you reacted and you did something.
yeah, but it's something where you got to realize like it's going to be a lot different than when it happens. And everyone talks a big talk, but they don't know how to actually do it. You know what I mean? It's this whole thing. Everyone in society is constantly judging and comparing, but it seems like we're really, really bragging about everything we can do if we had the opportunity to do so, but nobody ever wants to go for the opportunity. Everyone's just waiting for that thing to pop in their lap. And they always say, like, if you want to turn it to religion, for instance, does God give you the ability to have $10,000, or does he give you the ability to make $10,000?
All right. So once again, I agree. I grew up Catholic. I don't think God gives you the ability to do anything. Okay. Like you yourself, like do everything, like you on your own. You develop your abilities. You develop your brain. You develop your trades. You develop your talents. Like some mystic thing didn't give me.
I think you're thinking of it way too literally. I mean, like
You think so?
when people pray to God to say, "Can you just give me a stroke? God, just give me $10 million. I'll just pray to God. I want $10 million." Would he do that
No.
or would he give you the opportunity to be able to have the ability to go make the $10 million?
No, no, I'm going to go back to my point. No, if you think it's literal, that's fine. No, you have to give yourself the ability to go make $10,000. You have to get out there and make $10,000.
Exactly.
No phantom spirit or voice in your head, right, that you think is whatever. No, you still
I
have to
know.
do the legwork.
I'm using that example.
No,
as
I know, but I know what you're saying.
Depending on
just like
religion aside, I'm not saying that there is this deity, and I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying when a lot of people, like even that mystical being that we say God, this mystical being, he wouldn't even give you the $10 million. You got to go do that shit yourself.
yes.
That's what I'm saying is nobody
Yeah.
ever wants to do it for themselves. They want it to fall in their lap and be like some famous TikTok or famous Vine star.
Yeah, it's not about, like I said, you brought it up earlier, fame and fortune and this and that. Dude, we see it all the time. All these rich celebrity peoples, dude, they're just like me and you. They're regular human beings that have problems, that they get cancer, they get diseases, they get COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? Dude, they're just people. And most of the time, the money and everything brings them more problems than if they were just living like a regular normal life. So not everybody. Keanu Reeves, this dude is, this dude knows how to, but you know what's so cool about Keanu Reeves? This dude is just like a normal guy. He's a big celebrity, but he doesn't live like that. He lives like in a small house. He's very humble. He doesn't live beyond his means. He just really lives like a normal person. I think that's what you have to be.
People might hate Bill Gates, but he has the best mentality when it comes to, he doesn't really spend like $5 over anything. The weirdest thing that I've really tried to do with my whole entire life is I've saved up like every single paycheck. I still get stingy when it comes to spending over $5 on anything. Because once you notice is the more money you have, the bigger your spending budget becomes.
Yeah, bigger problems are. Yeah. No, trust me. Yeah. I mean, dude, the more you have, the more fucking problems you have.
I just gotta take Dragon City off my phone because it's
You in
$3.99
this
for
fucking game.
$3.99 for a pack of gems. I see that, I'm like, it's under $5. Then I hit purchase, and then 5 minutes later, it's under
Don't
$5. Hit
ever
purchase.
spend any money on a mobile game. Don't ever do that.
I've played it for 4
Jeez.
years, so I think I'm still
Yeah,
going
but
strong
I'm
with it.
Clash, right? Clash Royale. I've been playing that for like 3 years.
That hasn't even been out for 3 years. It's been out for like
It
2.
hasn't it?
2.
I think it's longer.
No, I think it came out in 2018.
Hold on.
You have the freaking, when you click on it, it says the developer thing on it. Tell you the date.
Clash Royale.
I love how we got into a really serious topic and then
Start date.
immediately start talking about Clash Royale. It's such a shitty
January
game.
4th, 2016. Bam! There you go. It's been out for 4 years.
Look up when Dragon City came out.
Oh, man. All right.
Fucking Google.
Dragon City. I don't even know what Dragon City is.
It's a fun game.
Dragon
That's what it is.
Dragon City start date. May 8th, 2012.
When the
There
world ended.
There you go. Yeah, don't put money into it. Don't buy the gem. Look in Clash. Don't buy the fucking gems. Just fucking keep grinding. Just
It's
keep grinding,
deals.
get shit for
It's
free.
the deals. They
Oh my
tossed
God.
me out a 50% offer. I started noticing that deals in stores were bullshit too.
You
2
don't
for
need that
$4,
skin.
and then on a normal day, it's the regular box is like $190 something, so it actually comes out to the regular price. So they just put a yellow sticker saying 2 for $4 when each box is already $2 anyway. It's what the hell?
Okay, so
The
now you're
world
gonna
is
get
a
me
lie.
going. Or listen, you're gonna get me going on this video game topic. Okay, so listen, because I play video games. Oh, I don't know when you're releasing this, but I got my hands on a PS5 second wave release yesterday. So yesterday was Friday. Today's Saturday, but like, I got my hands on a PS5 yesterday. Thank goodness. I like the game. I'm a gamer. Okay, here's my rant about video games. Because now the PS5 games are going to be $70, not $60. They're going to be $70. Okay, so you want me to spend $60, $70. Then in 2 months, you're going to release a fucking like package, an expansion package I have to buy to keep playing the fucking game. What's that, 30? Oh, so now the game's 100. Oh, and then 3 months later, oh, I got to get package number 2. Oh, that's oh, so now the game's $130. Oh, there's a third package? Oh, then no. What? So like at the end of this, I'm gonna spend $200 fucking dollars and then put 200 gigabytes space on my fucking PlayStation because the games are fucking so humongous. I'm gonna end up spending $60 turned into $200.
It's foreshadowing the future of how
Oh my
it's
God.
just gonna keep going up.
And like you, I got, oh, this is only $5. I gotta get that skin.
Dragon City's prices has always stayed the same. They have never changed.
Mobile's cheaper, but when you get on like the Call of Duties and Grand Theft Auto, stuff like that, you buy skins, you do this, you do that, and just like before you know it, your $60 has turned into $300, and you're just like, wait a minute, like what happened to buying a $50 game? And that's it. And you fucking play it. And you move on to the fucking next game.
Fucking turned into Rent-A-Center. Like there's a couch in my house that we've had for 2 years, and I still have. It's still not even paid off. Like when I sit on it, someone's like, "Yo, you gotta put a sheet on top of that." I haven't paid it off yet. I'm like, we've had this couch since I was like 12. What do you mean we haven't fucking paid it off? It's crazy because I think like even with the neurochip and all this stuff coming out, eventually it's going to be like the Justin Timberlake movie where we all have to pay with like a barcode on our arm or something like that.
Oh, I remember that movie. Yeah.
That's too much.
It's bad enough because they're doing it with movies too. Like you even with in Star Wars, like the new movies come out, and then a month after the movie comes out, they say, hey, you got to buy these 3 books because you'll get so much information about the movie. What? Put it in the fucking movie. Like, what? Okay, so now I spent money to go to the movie. Now I got to spend money on the book. Now I got to spend, right? I spent money on buying fucking toys. Like, good Lord, like, why couldn't you put some of this details inside of the movie? No. You need to buy the book to get this story that should have been in this movie. It's just like, man,
Well,
it reminds me of video games.
Well, hold on. It's an unreasonable like cost, and we have way too many of that already in life. Like what
Yes.
really pisses me off about motivational speakers is
I already
they're
did this.
selling their fucking this information to help people in a book form, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I got to make money somehow. I get that, but at the same time, wouldn't it be better if you just helped people by just giving out the information? There's gonna be someone out there that might not have the money to be able to buy that book.
Yeah. That's why there's social working and pro bono
I think I
lawyers,
know what I
right?
want to do with my life.
You need people to like fucking help people that love to help people. That the money doesn't matter. Funny story. Out of high school, I actually wanted to be a social worker. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do when I was right out of high school. Well,
Same.
at the end of in my high school, but I ended up getting removed from my house, working 2 jobs and living on my own, and the rest is history. But like, yeah, that's what I wanted to do, be a social worker. I work in customer service, so
That's
I
kind of
still help
helping
people. I still help people, just in a different way. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, a little fun fact: social working.
I just think
Like, so you don't do
there's
that for money, man. You don't do that for money.
it's not, I mean, that's what gets me is like the cost of life shouldn't be so expensive to the point where you stop enjoying it. It's really,
But
really, really difficult.
but then you can argue you need money to buy stuff to kind of help you enjoy, like your PlayStation. You got
That's what I'm
right,
saying.
dude, like
It's
you
the
need
sa-
money. I need money to buy my PlayStation.
You just twisted
right?
my words around. That's what listen to what I'm saying. The cost of life shouldn't be so expensive to enjoy it. You
Yes.
just said the same thing, but did it in a different way.
Yeah.
What I'm
Because
saying is you shouldn't have all these things, and we shouldn't have to hold. Why do we hold our items so valuable? Oh, because they create enjoyment. Well, I know people that find it's like finding knowledge in anything. I know people that find knowledge in learning all about Irish history or learning all about certain years paintings were created. It's like that seems completely useless to me, but to them that's infinite knowledge.
okay, so let me stop you there. So I'll give you a real base, and this is because I'm a dad, right? So you can buy $100 toy and put it in front of a 2-year-old, right? And be like, "Hey, I spent $100 on this fucking toy that fucking does everything." Or you can and then you can put a fucking open up your fucking cupboard and put a fucking bowl and a fucking wooden spoon in front of them, and they'll play with that shit for like 5 hours. There's your point, is you don't need the $100 fucking toy to get enjoyment out of life.
I'm just afraid now that you're going to put a $100 toy in front of a toddler and they're going to look and see the price tag and be like, "You only spent $100?" It's going to turn into a race of honey boo boos.
Reminds me of the girl from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate, Veruca Salt. I want it now. Gooses, geeses. Right? Oh shit. You're right, because that's how it's like society like kind of has kids built nowadays is like, yeah, man, like they need the fucking $200 thing. Oh, dude, like Air Jordans, dude, like Air Jordans were $125 when I was a kid, right? Because I was a kid when they came out. Fuck now, dude, they're like $250 or something. It's insane for a pair of sneakers. Are you nuts? Like, and then the kid, he gets the Kobe's or I don't know, and I wanted the Jordans. Right? What? Like, dude, the Jordans cost $250.
Would it be so bad? Maybe the fix would be just letting your kid sit in a hot car for like 10 minutes.
No, you can't do that.
It's such a leveler when it comes to your ego.
You can't do that anymore. You could get away with that in the 80s when I was a kid. Yeah, you can't do that shit because everybody's too fucking sensitive, man. You can't. Yeah, you can't. Well, you can't because fuck. Now, like, are they going to suffocate? Are they going to get kidnapped? Are they going to leave the car and wander off?
No, the car is locked.
Right?
Why would they be kidnapped?
That's like leaving your look. Look.
Windows are up and the car is locked. He's not getting kidnapped.
You can't do. It's like leaving your okay. Nothing drives me more crazy than walking by a fucking car and their fucking dog is in it, and the fucking window is like cracked.
There was a whole meme of people that were like, "Hey, my dog has the AC on. Please don't break my window." Because people, that's the same thing. People see that, and this really goes into did you look into this QAnon thing that's been going on?
What?
The QAnon in our political system?
No, dude, I stay away from.
Well,
politics.
you're a video gamer, so listen to this.
Okay.
When there's a lot of cases that have come out. Like there's a kid that played World of Warcraft fresh out of high school when he was like 18, and he spent like 20 years playing the game and building up this giant ass character. And then his character, I guess, he did some type of PvP thing in World of Warcraft where his character died and he couldn't play it again. He killed himself.
Oh no.
Yeah, and what the weird thing is people build up this fake persona on a video game, and then when they come on the video game, it's better than their actual life. Where it's like, all these people care if I die, all these people care about me in the game, all these people
because you're in a family.
Because they look up to you like a hero. Now, this is what they're relating to with fake pedophiles online. All these people that are coming out saying, I got this pedophile. Some of them are real. Some of them, like, I caught this dude messaging my kid or something. But then they're also thinking that there's a thing that's going on where Reddit and all these things are creating fake people, fake personalities, the ones that message you. Like, one messaged me today, a fake dude his name was Mike Peterson or some shit. I'll give him a shout out if he's real or not. He messaged me, hey, how are you doing? And I just messaged him, what do you want? Because that's what it is. It's not me being rude, but when someone says, hey, how are you doing? They have something they want to ask you, and they have a favor or something like that. So I'm just like, what do you need? And he goes, nothing, okay? And then no message. And then a message immediately, like not immediately, but a few minutes later where I didn't message back. And he goes, I was just wondering, can we be friends? And that's when you know it's a fake person or a bot or some weird pedophile dude. But what I'm saying is people create these fake accounts, lead to this messaging thing. Then people go after these people. Then they post it all over online like, I got this guy. He's a piece of shit. Everyone likes that. Then these people feel like heroes, that they just saved the world and cleansed something off the earth. A lot of these accounts they're finding out aren't real. They're just bots.
They're bots. Wow.
So then it's creating this era of people that think they're doing this amazing thing and going on the internet, and then they start attacking people that aren't pedophiles, that are just regular people, not doing anything weird. Maybe just want to make a friend. Maybe are lonely. People are killing themselves. People are doing all these types of things. It leads into this whole era of like, it seems like something, which I'm leading into a shadow society here, is the factor of it's turning us against each other. It's so much easier. Remember I told you in the beginning when we first started podcasting, like episode 200 something, was that the government is afraid of two things, the people and religion. Well, the government's been fucking with religion pretty hard recently. And the people, we have all these riots, and it seems like we're right at the door of breaking down the government's bullshit and finally being like, we're going to get some change going on. Then they toss something out like QAnon. They'll toss something out like masks. Your mask, you got to wear a mask. And then all these people start fighting each other. They immediately divide it onto all of us. So then we're all fighting each other, and we're not combining like we're supposed to be doing. Constitution is old. It needs amendments to it. We need to fix those. But know your fucking rights, man. The HUI thing I was telling you about. The kids were screaming, I know my rights. No, you don't. You don't. And that lets them go as far as they want. You got to understand, it all leads back into each other. And us being divided is not going to get us anywhere close to trying to survive in space. Because then it's going to be like a giant dome in outer space. Imagine a terrorist in outer space with a gun pointed at the wall, and he goes, I'll kill everybody in here by shooting this and releasing all of our oxygen unless somebody sucks my dick.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If we can't get to a place where we can even function in that together, we can't even function in our own houses together. We need to fix that before we even think about going into space.
Well, it's like you said, man. I mean, there's no, not to go back to like the police thing, but like, yeah, there's like, I don't know the rigorous tests that they have to go through, but yeah, maybe there needs to be a more mental test. Dude, look at our driver's license. You take one fucking test when you're 16. Well, at least when I was 16. That's it. You just renew this fucking thing for me every 4 years automatically. Cool. Nah, man, I think we need to be testing people. You still
have to do a vision test every time.
Like, yeah, I have to do a vision test. And they're just like, you back in contacts or glasses, Mike? All right, we just need to put that on your license. You need to put that on my license, but you don't need to make sure I still know the rules of the road?
Mine was like, can you read the bottom line that you could read before? And I said ZXY7, and she's like, that wasn't right. And I was like, what is the last? What did I get wrong? She's like, you got 3 of those wrong. And I was like, oh. And she goes, but I'm gonna give it to you anyway. I'm like, all right.
What?
I only need them for distance. It's fine. I can't read street signs, so I just know
Point is,
where to go.
There's no like re-education for driving. They just let you keep having your license over and over and over. So what's the point of renewing it?
So instead of college,
oh, you want my money?
Instead of college, we have people go back and take like an online class a day. Take a basic human class. This is your mother. This is your father. You're supposed to love them. See, this is an object. It's not good. It might make you happy in the moment.
This is like I hate to sound old, but like this is why the world was just so. It was so much easier before social media, before cell phones. It was a lot simpler. Like it was like because I lived through it, so I know both versions. And
it's because you're exposed to the world now. And sadly, it seems like everything's all bad. But it's really not.
It's not all bad. It's just everybody. We've talked about this before. Everybody's plugged in, right? Everybody's plugged in. So that is what society is today. Dude, in 1990, 95 or 91, 92, there was nothing to plug into, man, right? Like you couldn't plug in anything. You had your fucking, maybe you had a fucking pager, you know, but fuck, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what did everybody do before fucking social media and cell phones? What'd you do, man? Like, what the fuck did you do? Like that's what I'm saying. People just don't if they don't have this, they're gonna fucking go nuts. Like there was a time this didn't exist. It didn't exist. If someone needed to call you, you had to be fucking by your phone in your house at that moment they called you. If you weren't there, you missed it. Right, and then maybe you got an answering machine. They left a message, right? Because nobody leaves voicemails, dude. No, nobody leaves voicemails. You can just fucking text somebody, you know, hey, fuck's going on? So I don't know. Like I said, everybody's playing. Like you said, it's like fucking make sure everybody's plugged in today, and nobody wants to unplug. So my hat's off to people that do we go through like a whole Saturday, like no electronic devices in our house. Man, my hat goes off to you people because there's not many people that can, because I have someone in my family that does that. They go through, it's actually one of my nieces. She does like weeks at a time with her family and the kids, everybody, no cell phones, devices for an entire week. It forces you, dude, just like what this podcast is meant to do, it forces you to talk to each other and not have anything in your hand when you're talking to somebody, right? I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves anymore is you can't talk to anybody without anything in a tablet, a phone, something is in their hand when they're talking, and then they glance down like real, right? Yeah. Dude, put your fucking phone down. Like, put your phone down for 5. So you don't have to check your fucking Instagram or your fucking Snapchat or your TikTok or whatever, man. Everybody's too plugged into Twitter, everything, like social media. It's a mess, which is crazy because I was there at the beginning of social media and it was fucking MySpace. MySpace turned into Facebook, right? And then Facebook took over the world. So I don't know, man. It's so different, man. Like I said, I was a kid. I used to ride my bike. I used to have to go to my friends' houses and play video games with them, right? Sit right next to them and fucking play games with them. Interact. Oh, guess what? We would play for a few hours. Then guess what we would do? We would go out in their yard and we'd throw the football around, or we would throw a baseball around, or we would ride our bikes. We would, we would do things. You just wouldn't sit in your room all day and just fucking play. Well, I can play video games with my friends. Well, yeah, I mean, you can, but that's what's missing, man, is it's cool to play video games. Play it for a couple hours. Then go fucking do something. Go outside. Go play basketball, throw the football around, do something. That's where you
More
connect
kids
with
need to
people.
feel that ball that hits the rim and bounces back and breaks
No,
your nose.
but you brought up a good point, dude. There's some guy out there he spent 20 years making a fucking character and he lived online. Okay. So he has an online family. That is not enough. Like, that is not enough. Look, man, I watched people, streamers on Twitch, and I watch this one guy. I'm part of this Twitch community with this guy. I don't know any of these people, but they know my name, right? So I'm part of this family. That's not my family. I don't know any of them. The people you interact with and you do things with and you build real relationships. I'm not saying you can't build a real relationship in the virtual world, but it's different. I talk to
my Dragon City family is different than my real
yeah, I
family.
heard so. I'm the leader. I'm the clan leader in Clash Royale. It's my clan. Trust me, it's my little family too. But
Can't say that word anymore.
You know what I mean? Like, it's I work with people at FedEx. I work with a lot of younger people at FedEx, and they're just like, oh, I'm on all these dating apps. And I'm just like, that's how everybody meets everybody today, right? And I look at them, and I'm just like, and and like, so I talked to this person 6 months. And I'm like, you're still doing that? And they're like, yeah. It's like, I go on this date, I go on this date, I go on this date, and I just go, whatever happened to just being out there anywhere? And they're just like, where am I supposed to meet somebody? Anywhere. You meet people anywhere.
It's funny.
And
There's an old theory that came out like almost 60 something years ago called the global brain theory. And it was like, if you looked at from outer space, you looked at the Earth. This is not flat earthers. You can cover your ears for this, but and you see the whole rounded sphere. Everybody's technology, everybody's little frequencies all get thrown up into the sky and hit these satellites that create this like nervous system, like the brain, like the electromagnetic pulses that go on in your brain, where it was called literally the Earth looked like a brain. It was like the global brain of how we're all interconnected. I think you kind of said the main point of this whole thing is taking that minute to unplug. It's trying to find the rationale and find the understanding and realize like it's an issue. That there's this thing where it's like you feel like you need to get to it, you need to get to it, you need to check it, you need to check it. But work in small steps. Not saying you have to go to a flip phone, but take an hour, take 2 hours. Next thing you know, you're understanding how life is this thing that is, I mean, do you want most of your memories to be of something that you didn't experience? There's just something that you don't even really remember what happened. There's people with gaps of their freaking life taken out of their mind where it's like, what'd you do Saturday? Played games. Okay, well, recount me like the experiences you were having, because like I drove my car, I was doing some drifting, I felt it. Like I know every second of what happened at that moment. I don't know. Like I remember waking up in the morning playing games, and next thing I know it was bedtime.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. It's people are too plugged in, and just try. Like, yeah, like you said, try to do it
It's
for
that freaking commercial. Plug it in, plug it in.
plug it in. I don't know, man. I'm just as guilty, right? I mean, I got my phone with me 24/7, but I disconnect from it, right? Because I can pick up my guitar and I can play music for an hour, for a couple hours, and just play music if I want to. And I don't know, man. It's just I like I said, I feel old, but like I remember a world before you say tech, but we need technology, but like I don't know, man. It's just much more simpler being dropped off by my parents, and then they were supposed to pick me up, and then they would forget to pick me up, and I didn't have my cell phone to be like, "Where the fuck are you, mom? Ma, where are you? Where are you? I'm sitting here waiting for you." No, you know what I had to do? I had to go to a fucking payphone. I didn't have any money. I had to fucking hit 0, and I'd be like, can you? I need you to do a collect call to, and you had to remember your fucking phone number. And then this woman would be like, "Do you accept the charges from Mike Ferrando?" And my mom would be like, "Yes." And she'd be like, "Michael?" And I'd be like, "Ma, you need to pick me up. I forgot."
Yeah.
Right? So, it's just one of those things, man. Like those are like the memories I have is, yeah, man, my parents dropped me and my buddy off and we would fucking hang out somewhere like all day. Or, like arcades, dude. Like, yeah, we used to hang out at the arcades. And even that, dude, like if we play video games at home, even going to arcades, that is still, you're still out. You're still around people. You're bonding with people. You're interacting with people.
You talked about how we all want to be retro now. It's not
super retro.
It's
everybody.
not. I mean, they sell those arcade things in Walmart, but I mean, an easy takeaway to kind of wrap it is like, instead of unplugging, take a break.
Take a break.
The fucking Wii told you to take a break.
It did. Like, it literally did.
Netflix tells you to take a break. Netflix says, "Do you still watching?
Are you still here?"
Take a break.
Take a break and like go out and hang out with somebody. Like, seriously. Like, just go out and hang out. Like, I know that's what's missing with me because I'm just so busy, dude. Like, I can't hang, I'm just really busy. Right. I'm one of my days off. What am I doing? I'm podcasting all day. Hey, guess what I'm doing when I'm done? I'm editing. Right. Hey, I am going to see Empire Strikes Back tonight at the movie theater. It will be my first time in a movie theater since COVID.
Oh, you like Star Wars?
Yeah, you think?
Well, Lando, plug your show there, brother.
All right. So yeah. I am the Star Wars guy. I do a podcast called Sith Talkers. Check me out. I'm on YouTube. I am on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the podcast platforms. Follow me on all my social medias at Sith Talkers, on Instagram, on the Twitter, on Facebook. Shoot me an email, sithtalkers@gmail.com. There you go. Check out the show. Once again, everybody, it is a rated R show. It's not for kids. And it's usually me and my brother, sometimes me and Robbie. And once again, it's a show. Okay. So it's not two guys nerding out on Star Wars. We have Jar Jar on. I do jokes. I do facts. I do segments. I try to make it fun. Even though it pisses you off, one of the Jar Jar pisses you off.
It's like the 50,000 songs of Jar Jar on one CD. It's like, that's enough.
But at the end of the day, it is just about entertaining everybody and having fun. F-U-N, having fun.
F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. Without my silly Star Wars podcast show, I would have never met Robbie. I wouldn't get to hang out with my brother like almost every week and have fun. So, and meet all kinds of people out there and have a little Sith Talker family. Right? I got a little Sith Talker family, so it's pretty cool. So, but yeah, it's just fun. And when it's not fun, I won't do it anymore. But man, I have a blast doing it. I have a lot of fun doing it. I make no money doing it. Really quick story before we sign off. I had somebody I work with at my full-time job, message me just through Microsoft Teams, and we're talking about the show. And he's like, "Mike, you can't keep putting our episodes on YouTube, and you can't keep doing this, and you need to do this, and you need to do that." He's like, "Come on, all that money you're making, it's probably just the money you're making is why you're doing what you're doing." I called him, like I stopped the messaging and I called him and I said, "Hey man," I said, "number one," I said, "I don't make any money." I said, "Number two, I actually spend money to make my podcast. So I actually spend money on Buzzsprout, and I actually spend money on another audio platform to clean up the audio to make it sound even better for the audio listeners. That I pay for that every month. I make zero money. What do I lose? I lose a lot of my time, right? I lose basically my whole Saturday, but I love doing it. Like, I have so much fun. I love doing it. So I don't care that I have to spend money. I don't care that it consumes my Saturday. And so when somebody he listens sometimes, but when somebody reaches out to me, they're just like, "Hey man, I'm just like, "Hey man, I don't need to do anything. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I love what I'm doing." And I understand that an hour episodes on YouTube are tough, right? Usually people don't post hour and 15 YouTube videos. I get it. It's a podcast though. Our show is a podcast first in my eyes. It is an audio show. And I just so happen to put it on YouTube. If you want to watch us talking, if you want to see me dance to
songs, if you want to see me do the impressions, if you want to see how crazy it is, if you want to see Robbie look completely pissed off when I did Jar Jar Binks this past week, by all means, go on YouTube and watch it, right? And you'll get visually see it. But to me, it's more of an audio show. But like I said, I just had to tell that guy, hey man, like that's once assuming, right? Perception. We talked about at the beginning of the show, perception and assuming. It just really hit my nerve. And I'm like, man, you know nothing. Like you don't know anything if you're coming at me like this. I don't do this for money. I don't do this no, I love doing a Star Wars podcast show and having fun and spending time with people. So yeah.
And is for any time at all down here in the deep blue sea.
And, you know, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Yes.
A beautiful day
Thank God.
in this neighborhood.
I don't like Mr. Rogers. He's a crazy psychopath killer, but everyone gets it wrong. It's not a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in
Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers is a saint.
He only cared about his neighborhood.
Saint. He's a saint.
No. Saint of hell.
Saint. Hashtag Mr. Rogers is a saint.
Hashtag Mr. Rogers kills kids.